Alright guys, today I'll be giving you my prediction for the top 10 coasters opening up this year in 2025. Obviously, it's very hard to predict these given that no one's actually ridden them except maybe testers, but even then, some of these definitely have not been testing yet. But it's definitely a stacked year for coasters. We got a ton of good ones, so let's jump right into the list. Coming in at number 10 is Mechalodon going to Walibi, Belgium. I know there's a bunch of more traditional thrill rides such as Rapterra or Wrath of Rakshasa, but this is definitely going to be more extreme than all of those. This ride looks to have plenty of really strong airtime moments as well as really snappy transitions, and it'll also have some pretty good theming alongside it. Nothing too special, but I know Walibi Belgium definitely needed that coaster in between Conda and something like Pulsar or Psyche Underground. It's a big gap, and this will definitely fill that really well. It's going to be an intense ride too. Expect some positive Gs, some really good whip and laterals, as well as some good ejector airtime at some points. I've said it before and I'll say it again, do not sleep on Speedboat. Coming in at number 9 is Spitfire going to Six Flags Qiddiya. This is a park that I feel like could get delayed to 2026, who knows, but assuming it opens in 2025, they'll have 3 coasters on this list, this being the first of the 3. This ride looks fantastic. It's short, obviously, but it looks like a mini Top Thrill too. You'll have that swing launch sequence, which should give some really good airtime, and then of course you got the inverted top hat. That should give either great positives if you rip through it, or great hang time if you sort of just stall up there. And of course you got one little airtime bump before the brakes. It looks really small, but it's actually a hyper. It's really big, it's next to Falcon's Flight, so of course it looks tiny. Everything does next to it. But overall, this will definitely be a great addition to Six Flags Qiddiya. Coming in at number 8 is one that I think could potentially be higher, but I'll just have to ride and see. It's Alpenfury going to Canada's Wonderland. This ride looks fun, but I don't think it's going to be a world beater. I don't think it's going to be top 50 in the world. Definitely top 100 in the world, but not top 50. It'll have some fantastic looking inversions. I bet some will probably give airtime, but others may not. And the airtime moments on this ride look alright. There's a few of them scattered throughout, and they look decent, but nothing too special. The mountain itself and the interaction with it will be great theming. If they get the fireball working, that'll be a great visual. But for now, I think there will be 7 other coasters opening this year with better ride experiences. Coming in at number 7 is Circuit Breaker going to Codaland. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and it's actually opening this year. It's about time. But it looks really good. It'll have some great elements with good airtime, great whip to them and laterals. It's just overall a really good looking new gen Vekoma. Nothing too much to say about it. The tilt track gimmick I think will be fun. It'll almost feel more like a drop tower than an actual coaster drop in my opinion. And overall, it's definitely not one to sleep on. But I definitely think the 2 ahead of it look better, which I might as well just say what the 2 ahead of it are. Number 6 is Siren's Curse, and number 5 is Iron Rattler, going to Cedar Point and Six Flags Qiddiya respectively. These are very similar feeling rides by the looks of it. They definitely have unique layouts with their own identity, but all 3 of these are tilt coasters, and more importantly, they're new gen Vekomas with fully fleshed out layouts, and I think they all look great. But that being said, there's definitely a clear order, with Circuit Breaker at the bottom, Siren's Curse in the middle, and then of course Iron Rattler at the top. Iron Rattler is a full-on hyper coaster, which is kind of ridiculous. If you're in the back row, you're going to be dropping really far down, and it'll almost feel like a really good drop tower, I feel like. Siren's Curse's drop will be a bit weaker, but still pretty fun. The layout on Siren's Curse looks really good. Some really good looking inversions with great laterals and airtime, especially that one Heartline roll right away. You've got some good-looking traditional airtime moments, and overall, it just looks like an easy top 5 coaster for Cedar Point, which is saying a lot. And as for Iron Rattler, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous that this is one of the first tilt coasters, and we're getting this excellent-looking of a layout. It's got a great-looking stall, it's got some really good-looking ejector airtime moments. I mean, what more could you want? It's new gen Vekoma, they're doing great stuff. Coming in at number 4 is Yoi going to Walibi Holland. I wanted to put this at number 3, I'm gonna be honest. This ride looks like it could be the other sleeper hit of 2025 along with Speedboat. So the Walibi parks are really hitting hard this year. This ride is obviously 2 credits, the green side and the blue side, and the green side looks fantastic. Some great looking inversions, almost Mosasaurus roll-like or arcade roll-like. They look fantastic, along with some really good airtime moments, both lateral and traditional. But the blue side is what I'm really excited for, because this is supposed to be a family coaster, and yet it still looks better than some RMCs such as Medusa or Twisted Timbers. I don't know why, but those airtime moments actually look stupidly strong on the blue side. I mean, maybe it doesn't ride as well as I'm thinking it will, but either way, I mean, it's going to destroy every B&M Hyper except maybe Goliath, but still, I think it could definitely beat Goliath, and the airtime on that thing just looks ridiculous on both sides. Coming in at number 3 is Helios going to Fantasiana. Oh my god, this ride looks so good. Of course, it replaced Wild Train, which is a shame, but that being said, this ride looks 100 times better. It could be top 25 in the world, I really do. It's got such a perfect looking layout, so many incredibly violent looking inversions, combined with some absolutely ridiculous looking airtime moments. I mean, will this be better than Voltron? No, it doesn't have the length or the theming, but it's definitely got some elements that look on par with some of the better ones on Voltron. I mean, you look at that one Outer Bank in particular, and that looks like the Outer Bank on Voltron on steroids. I mean, that could be the best element on any of the strikers. Of course, it's a shorter layout, not as well themed, so it won't be quite as good. But that being said, I'm still really hyped for Helios. Coming in at number 2 is the one everyone else is putting at number 1, and it's Falcon's Flight. Will this ride be top 25 in the world worthy? Yeah. Will this ride be top 10 in the world worthy? I don't think so. But you know what? It could surprise me. The first half definitely looks really good, some good ejector moments. The second half looks a bit weaker in terms of the forces, but of course it makes up for it with the sheer speed and power. That giant camelback, no matter how weak the airtime is, will still be insane going that high up and getting that sustained of airtime, and the big drop will also be really good off the cliff, despite it having a trim, and that whole cliff top section will be really cool, just because of the visuals. But that being said, there was a clear number 1 in my eyes, and that is Stardust Racers going to Epic Universe. This ride is going to push the limits of what a coaster can do. Alright, not many people are seeing it, but I could honestly see this thing being an Air Force One or Panthurian type ride, where it's just too intense for a lot of people. A lot of people were complaining recently about a trim brake added to the first top hat. Well, let me tell you why that thing was installed. It's because this thing did not pass the ASTM safety standards when it comes to ride forces, and they put that trim brake in just to satisfy the ASTM standards. It was that intense, and I don't think they're going to trim you hard because you got a pretty high element coming up next, so it's going to be just a tap. So basically, you're going to be riding a ride that is quite literally as intense as a ride can possibly be while still being in the ASTM standards. That is absurd to think about. You've got some crazy looking ejector moments. I mean, top of the line, maybe even Air Force One level. I mean, these things look ridiculous. That celestial spin looks incredible no matter what side you're on. This ride just looks to have such bonkers pacing, and I cannot wait to get out to Epic Universe to see if I'm right about this ride being a top 10, possibly even top 5 coaster in the world. So let me know what you guys thought about this list down in the comments below. What do you think will be the best coaster of 2025? Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.